Hey guys, this is Lisa.
This is Connor. We have a B2 lesson for you today.
And this one's called Performance Evaluation. And I just want to tell you, Connor, that you are doing a great job. You're a really great host.
Thanks. And you as well, Lisa. You are fantastic.
Thank you. What about you guys? Does your boss tell you that you're doing a great job or how you can improve?
Companies do this all the time. They are called performance evaluations, and they are like reviews.
Today, we're going to listen to Cody and his boss talk about his performance evaluation. Let's go ahead and listen to how Cody did. Cody, did you get a chance to read the results of your online performance evaluation?
I did, but I noticed a large discrepancy between the scores I gave and the ones you did.
Yes, I saw that you gave yourself a score of exceeds expectations several times.
And I noticed I was given a meets expectations for things like client satisfaction.
While the clients generally praise your professionalism, we still see a lot of room for improvement.
I guess I see myself as someone who handles client problems effectively.
You certainly do. But in order to exceed expectations, you need to go above and beyond for the client.
So you're saying I need to anticipate problems instead of just reacting to them?
Yes, and that's what we'd like to see going forward.
Okay, thanks for the constructive feedback, Heather.
My pleasure. Remember that if you need anything, my door is always open.
Well, Lisa, how did Cody do on his performance evaluation?
It sounds like he gave himself some pretty high scores, but his boss disagreed a little.
That sounds a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it actually wasn't that bad. Cody actually did pretty well, but there's still some room for improvement.
Let's take a look at how this dialogue begins. Heather, who is his boss, she asks him, did you get a chance to read the results of your online performance evaluation?
Like we said, your performance evaluation is a review. It tells you how you have been doing at work.
These two words, performance, this is not about a Broadway musical performance or a concert. This is something a little different.
Yeah, your performance is how well you do. And here we're talking about your work performance. So if you have a good work performance, then you do things well and you do things on time.
That's right. And we can also use the verb to perform. A really good employee performs well. So what about this other word, evaluation?
Evaluation is a noun and it comes from the verb to evaluate. This means to find out how good something is.
We look at something, could be a person or a machine or anything at all, and we try to find the value of this thing, the pros and cons, what's good, what's bad.
When you are at work, your boss evaluates you. And when you're at school, your teacher evaluates you.
So Cody, he did see his evaluation, but he noticed a large discrepancy between the scores he gave and the ones his boss gave.
When there is a discrepancy, then these two things are not the same, but they should be, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's usually for information or numbers.
For example, maybe you sell a lot of ice cream, but your income is less than it should be. So there's a discrepancy, right, between the sales and your income.
Maybe someone was stealing some ice cream, some delicious vanilla ice cream. I think I would do that.
Yeah, me too.
And just a note here about the prepositions. You can say a discrepancy between two things, or you can say a discrepancy in. So, for example, a discrepancy in the scores.
Unfortunately, there was a discrepancy between the score that Cody gave himself and the score that his boss Heather gave him.
Cody gave himself a score, and the score is two words. Exceeds expectations.
To exceed something means to go past, to do better than this.
It could be for good things or bad things. Like if you're driving in a car and the car is exceeding the speed limit, that's not a good thing.
Or you could exceed a spending limit or exceed your budget. This means that you spend too much, you spend more than you had planned to.
And we can use the adverb form of this word, exceedingly, and it could be for good or bad things. You did exceedingly well.
Or you could do exceedingly bad. When you exceed expectations, this is always a good thing.
This means that you did better than anybody expected, because an expectation is what people expect of you.
At work, you have work expectations. Your boss will expect you to come on time. He or she might expect you to do your work well. When you exceed expectations, you do really, really well. You do better than your boss expects you to perform.
Exactly. But Cody noticed that his boss, Heather, gave a different score. She said meets expectations. And that just means did exactly what was expected. Didn't do really well, but just did good.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a bad score.
Especially when we're talking about work. Heather is going to explain herself here, why there is a discrepancy here. She says, while the clients generally praise your professionalism, we still see a lot of room for improvement.
While here is actually a word that we use to compare. And this is actually going to be our grammar point for today.
You know, we use a lot of comparing and contrasting words in English like but and although. This really just means although.
It does. For example, we could say, although he was happy, his wife was not. And we could also say, while he was happy, his wife was not.
The two things that are contrasting, they are different. I could even say, while I like action movies, my friend likes romance movies.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Now, in our lesson here, Cody learns that while the clients generally praise him, his boss still sees a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, so this just means while he's doing a good job, he can improve. So he's doing well, but he can improve.
But the words that his boss actually uses today are, while the clients generally praise your professionalism.
Praise is just a nice, polite word that means compliment. When you give somebody a compliment, like, hey, you did a great job.
When someone does something good at work, it's good to give them praise. We can also give praise for other things like movies or books. For example, I could say the acting was amazing in that film, so I would be giving the film praise. Cody's clients generally praise his professionalism.
Professionalism, I know it's hard to say. This does not mean your skill. It's more about your habits, almost your personality at work.
When you are professional, that's the adjective, you come on time, you dress well, you're organized, and you are polite too.
Yeah, you don't go around gossiping. Basically, people are different when they're with their friends. They're more casual, relaxed. You know, when you're at home, you don't have to be organized. You can be messy, but at work, you have to be professional. You have to look like a professional person.
You need professionalism if you want your coworkers to trust you and respect you. If you lack professionalism, then maybe your boss won't want you to meet with clients.
So Heather is saying Cody can improve, but then Cody comes back and he says, I guess I see myself as someone who handles client problems effectively.
Yeah, so I see myself is a really, really great phrase here to say your opinion of yourself. For example, someone could say, I see myself as someone who is reliable.
It's a lot about our identity. We use this phrase, I see myself as, and it's polite. And so basically this sentence means, I think I handle client problems effectively.
To handle means to manage or deal with. So if you handle a problem, then you solve it.
I always think of single parents, single moms or single dads raising kids and having a job. That's really difficult to handle.
Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. But at work, we usually handle clients. And that means that we help these people, we talk to them, and we help solve their problems.
You're trying to solve the problems in an effective way.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here we're actually using the adverb effectively. And when you do something effectively, it works well. You have a good result.
This can be used for everything, any kind of system. How do you stay organized at work? Do you have an effective system?
Yeah, or do you have an effective solution? Does the solution work well? And it seems like Heather agrees with him here. She does think that he handles clients effectively, but in order to exceed expectations, he needs to go above and beyond for the client.
Oh yeah, this is a really, really, really great phrase. Go above and beyond. Beyond means past, like over, the other side. So if you go above and beyond, it means you do more. If your boss tells you to do this, you do this and more.
So maybe if you're exceeding expectations at work, after you have solved the problem, you continue to stay in contact with the client and ask them if they need anything else.
People who go above and beyond are very, very helpful. They work hard. They exceed expectations. And what does this mean for Cody?
He says, so you're saying I need to anticipate problems instead of just reacting to them?
Now, just before we look at this word anticipate, there's this phrase, so you're saying, and we can use this to check our understanding of something because we always misunderstand people. We need to check.
And here he says, I need to anticipate problems instead of just reacting to them. To anticipate means to guess or imagine what the problems will be and to prepare for the situation.
I always think of the weather. When you check the weather or listen to the weatherman on TV, he says, we are not anticipating any rain in the forecast, and usually then it rains.
But if you're meeting clients, you should also probably anticipate your clients' questions so you know how to answer them.
Like when company teams have meetings, they need to talk about what problems they might anticipate if they're starting a new project.
Yeah, so they can solve them before they happen, and they don't just react to them after they happen.
Heather says, yes, that's exactly right, and that's what we'd like to see going forward.
Going forward is just a really easy phrase that means in the future.
Yeah, from now on. And it's kind of feels like a business expression, like we use it a lot in teams at work when we're talking about plans.
Yeah, for example, we'll continue to use this policy going forward.
That sounds good, and Cody says, thanks for the constructive feedback, Heather.
This is the best kind of feedback too, because constructive feedback tells you what's wrong and it gives you advice about how to fix the problem.
It makes me think of the verb construct. You can build something. You can build a person into a better person. It basically means useful.
So you always want to give someone constructive feedback or constructive criticism.
This reminds me of a popular phrase. If you don't have anything constructive to say, don't say anything at all.
Because sometimes just criticizing someone really doesn't help.
Yeah, sometimes it's not useful. But it sounds like this was really useful. And it sounds like Heather's a really nice boss because she says, remember that if you need anything, my door is always open. Now, we all have to get performance evaluations if we work at a company. And sometimes there can be discrepancies between the scores.
Yeah, sometimes there are. So it's really important to have a constructive dialogue with your boss. Maybe you think you are exceeding expectations, but they think that there might be some room for improvement.
And even if your score meets expectations, don't worry. It doesn't mean you're not professional. It doesn't mean you can't handle problems. It's okay.
It's actually a pretty good score, but like we said, there's always room for improvement. You can always do more to work more effectively and go above and beyond.
Let us know if you have any questions or comments about this lesson. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Yep, talk to you then.
Performance evaluation. Discrepancy. Exceeds. Expectations. Praise. Professionalism. Handles.
Effectively.
Go above and beyond. Anticipate. Going forward. Constructive.